Hello, everybody. On this episode of Voices Big and Small, we'll be looking at Houston-based voice actress Hilary Haag. And with no further ado, let's get started. Hilary Haag, born December 3rd, 1973, is an American voice actress who is known for her work for ADV Films and Sentai Filmworks. Haag has been involved in several lead roles in anime series from ADV Films, including 10-year-old teacher Rebecca Miyamoto in Pani Pony Dash, Nene Romanova in Bubblegum Crisis Tokyo 2040, Talitha Testarossa in Full Metal Panic, and Chloe in Noir. She attended Lamar Consolidated High School and later studied English rhetoric at Texas A&M University. So she's an Aggie, basically. Um, Haag resided in Los Angeles for almost 2 years after she graduated from Texas A&M University, but moved back to Houston, where she grew up. Because of her distinctive, natural, childlike voice, she is often given the roles of younger female characters, and I've heard this quite a bit, on in a number of her roles. So now, with all that being said, let's take a look at her roles. So starting off in 1994, she was cast as the English voice of Masami Nasumi, as the English voice of that in Dirty Pair Affair of Nalandia. Then in 1995, she was cast in Megazone 23 Part 1 as the English voice of Tomomi Mirashita. Then in 1998, she was cast as the English voice of Suki in Those Who Hunt Elves. And in 1999, she was, of course, this is one of her main roles that we just talked about. She was cast as the English voice of Nene Romanova in Bubblegum Crisis Tokyo 2040. Also in 2000, she was cast as the English voice of Pia in Dragon Half, as well as being cast as the English voices of Yukina Shiratori in Aqua and Martian successor Nadesico. And then as we move ahead to 2001, she was cast as the English voice of Dorton in Sorceress Stabber Orphan. Also in 2001, she was cast as pitcher Ryo Hayakawa in Princess Nine, basically about an all-girls baseball team. Interesting story. You might want to check it out. Then in 2002, she was cast as the English voice of Karinka in Steel Angel Karumi. Also in 2002, she was cast in Excel Saga as the English voices of Menchi and Child. Then also in 2002, in ADV's dub of Super Dimension Fortress Macross, she was cast as the English voice of Shami Milome. Now, the reason I say ADV's dub because Super Dimension Fortress Macross was dubbed back in the 80s by Harmony Gold. Most people who grew up around that time would have known it better as as Robotech. But this is ADV's dub of Macross, where she was cast the English voice of Shami Malone. Also in 2002, she was cast in the musical anime Chance Pop Session as the English voice of Yuki Aoyama, kind of another idol type anime. Kind of a cute one too, sweet one. You guys might want to check it out. In 2003, she was cast as the English voice of Chloe in Noir. One of my favorite all time favorites here. Really about the idea of female assassins. Um, Chloe specialized in utilizing of blades, in her assassinations. Continuing on, also in 2003 in anime Colorful, she was cast as the English voice of Yamamoto. In the mecha anime Razafon, oh wait, yeah, in 2003 in the mecha anime Razafon, she was cast as the English voice of Megumi Shito. Um, in Also in 2003 in Rune Soldier, she was cast as the English voices of Anna and Lina Lim Lily Corvell. Also in 2003 in Spectral Force, she was cast as the English voice of Azalea. And also in 2003, another one of her more well-known roles was in Full Metal Panic as Talitha Tessa Testarossa, the the young submarine captain of the Mithril in that the great mecha anime you guys might want to check out. It's a pretty funny one too. Also in 2003, she was cast in the Unlimited Saga video game as Judy. Also, as we continue in 2003, in the anime Najika Blitz Tactics, she was cast as English voices of Swaney Kuronikawa, Akira, and Mizuho Katsura. Also in 2003, she was cast in Supergirl's anime as English voices Sayo Kotobuki and Takazawa. Um, She was then cast as the English voice of Maria Shibata in Battle Doll Angelic Layer, an anime basically about people um, who use dolls to battle each other with. Then in Pre-Tier, she was cast in the English voice of Hajime, and then also in 2003, she was cast as she reprised her role as Dorton in the anime Sorceress Stava Orphan Revenge. Then she was cast as the English voice of Tri-Spot in Magical Shopping Arcade Abenoboshi, kind of another interesting slice of life anime. Also got some fantasy elements to it, so you guys might want to check that one out. Um, then as we move ahead to 2004, in ADV's dub of the Slayer's great movie, she was cast as the English voice of Leia Einberg. I think that's how you pronounce it. Then in Kino's Journey, she was cast as the voice of Lily Sakura. In Azumanga Daioh, another cute kind of slice of life anime following like 4 or 5 schoolgirls around um, just watching their lives. She was casting as the voice of Chihiro. Then also in 2004, she was cast as the English voice of Mei Wong in Kaleido Star, story about a girl seeking to follow her dream of becoming a circus acrobat. Then also in 2004, she was cast in the mecha anime Gravion as the English voice of Anya. Then in Girl Power, she was cast as the English voice of Sora. Then in the comedy anime The Super Milk Chan Clan, She was cast as the English voice of Milk-chan. And another one of my favorites, Chrono Crusade, she was cast as the English voices of Sister Rosette Christopher and Mary Magdalene. And then in Sister Princess, she was cast as the English voice of Karen. Basically, the idea about it's another kind of slice of life about a who guy who comes into some money, but then also finds out that he has 12 sisters that he never even knew about. So that's a very interesting. It's a very interesting one to check out. Then in Guardian Angel, she was cast as the English voice of Riku Harada. Then in the ADV dub of DG Carrot, there's been a few different DG Carrots, but in this particular version, she was cast as Petite Carrot. Um, then she was cast in the Appleseed movie, the English voice of Hitomi, as we're now moving into 2005. Also in 2005, she was cast as the English voice of Kiku 8 in Wandava style. Then in Princess Tutu, she was cast as the English voice of Hermia. Then in Ease Otherwise, she was cast as the English voice of Asuka Tokugawa. Then in the dark anime Gilgamesh, she was cast as the English voice of Reiko Yuki. Then in Ghost Stories, she was cast as the English voice of Satsuki Miyanoshita. Now, this dub is interesting because this is one of probably the more unique dubs that's out there. Because what you have to understand with most dubs, now granted, we've heard, and Hiro Hay's been reporting on this a lot about how Funimation seems to be having an idea of sitting there changing the content of the materials. Now, usually the Japanese don't like that. From everything I've been hearing, Japanese don't like it when you like mess with their intellectual properties like that. However, in the case of Ghost Stories originally was not succeeding in Japan. So so the story goes when they gave ADV the rights to dub it, they just said you can do whatever you want with it. You can do whatever you want with it, you know, and it ended up being more successful than the original because they really took a lot of liberties with it. Fun liberties, not they weren't as much trying to push an agenda like you see nowadays, but um yeah, they did have a few like shots at Bush and all that, but overall it was still a pretty good comedic adaptation. So also in 2005, she was cast in the anime Shadow Skill Egi as the English voice of Kyo Ryu. Then in This Ugly Yet Beautiful World in 2006, she was cast as the English voice of Kimi Ninomiya. So now we're into 2006 now. And then probably, as far as I know, her only Funimation role in 2006 came when she was cast in Trinity Blood as the English voice of Seth Nightroad / Augusta Vragdika. Also in 2006, she was cast in the anime Pony Pony Dash as the English voice of 10-year-old teacher Rebecca Miyamoto. Also, and then as we move ahead to 2007, she was cast as Kaori, as the English voice Kaori Izumi in the anime Best Student Council. Another slice of life, kind of interesting one you guys might want to check out. Then in Air Gear, which was basically Air Gear is basically an anime about, in essence, kind of rollerblading, albeit they call the rollerblading something a little bit different. Um, but she was cast in the English voice as Shirami Noyamano. Then in Red Garden, she was cast as the English voice of Carrie Sheedy, the younger sister of one of the main characters, Rose Sheedy. Then in Zigo Saga, the animation, the space opera type, she was cast as the English voice of Kirschwasser. And then Magicarno, she was cast as the English voice of Fuyuno Yoshikawa. Then in the anime movie Appleseed Ex Machina, she reprised her role as the English voice of Hitomi. Then in 2008, she was cast in the anime in the English dub of Devil May Cry, um, as Patty Lowell, as the English voice of Patty Lowell. Devil May Cry, of course, is the anime that where Ruben Langdon plays Dante, but she was cast as the English voice of Patty Lowell. Then, also in 2008, she was cast in the anime movie 5 centimeters per second as the English voice of Akari Shinohara, both the young and the older version of her. Moving ahead, also in 2008, in the fantasy adventure anime Kiba, she was cast as the English voice of Sagiri. Now, as we move ahead to 2010 here, where she was cast in the Sentai dub of Clannad as Fuko Ibuki. Moving on, of course. Okay, in Gogo in 2010, in the anime Gogo 13, basically one of the few episodic animes out there that you'd find. It follows basically the story of a world famous assassin, or well, okay, not world famous, obviously assassin, but basically within the assassination game, considered the best assassin out there, codename Gogo 13. And among the roles she would have in a number of episodes would include English voices of Alice, Mrs. Smith, Jeff, Thomas Grevich's wife, and Bilozerchev's daughter. So those 5 roles she had in Golgo 13. Then also in 2010 in the anime Blue Drop, she was cast as the English voice of Mari Wakatake. Then in Zand Lost Memories, she was cast as the English voice of Midori Nishimura. Then in Tears to Chihara, which I happen to be watching right now, it's a pretty good fantasy adventure anime. She's cast as the English voice of Ermine, one of the 2 house elves. Interesting one to check out. Then in the anime Kanan, she was cast as the English voice of Maria Oshawa. Okay, and then in 2011, she was cast in the anime Needless as the English voices of Mio, Kuchinachi, and um, Hanoka, as well as reprising those roles in the short Needless, The Secret of St. Lily Academy. As we move further ahead into 2011, in the English voice, or I'm sorry, in the anime, in the Sentai dub of Green Saga, she was cast as English voices of Suni, the little monkey girl, and Emma. And then she would reprise her role as Fuko Ibuki in the in the Sentai English dub of Planet After Story. Then in Demon King Daimao, she was cast as the English voice of Lily Shirashi. She would then be cast as the English voice of Yui in the musical anime Angel Beats, which the music from that particular anime became very popular on the J-pop scene. So stuff you might want to check out. Then in Samurai Girl, she was cast as the English voice of Yukimura Sanada. And I'm guessing that by the looks of this, Samurai Girls is basically like an all female version of or all female interpretation of the Warring States period there. Then in the Marduk Scramble, the first compression movie, she was cast as the English voice of Rune Below. And in Five Numbers, she was cast as the voice of R12 Girl. And then in the anime Lu equals Garo, she was cast as the English voice of Mio Suzuki. Then we get to the anime, we get now into 2012. In the world God only knows, she was cast as the English voices of Shiori Shiomiya and Mio Ayama. Then in F, A Tale of Memory, she was cast as the English voice of Mizuki Hayama. She would reprise her role as Mizuki Hayama in the sequel to A Tale of Memories, F, A Tale of Melodies. Then in Dream Eater Mary, she was actually cast in the lead, as the English lead Merry Nightmare in Dream Eater Mary. And in Infinite Stratos, she was cast as the English voice of Lin Yin Fang. In the Book of Bantora, she was cast as the English voice of Lashkal Othello, the female form. And then also in 2012, she was cast in a series of movies called Toa no Kwan as the English voice of Miyu in the 6 chapters. The chapter 1, the ephemeral petal; chapter 2, Dancing Orchid and Chaos; chapter 3, Complicity in Dreams; chapter 4, The Roaring Anxiety; chapter 5, The Return of the Invincible; and chapter 6, Eternal Quan. So in Toa no Quan, she was cast as the English voice of Miyu in that movie series. Then in the anime number 6, she was cast as the English voice of Safu. Then in the Bakumatsu anime, anime, she was cast as the English voice of Princess Sen in Hakuoki. In Heaven's Memo Pad, she was cast as the English voice of Alice. In the anime Magikoi O Samurai Girl, she was cast as the English voice of Kokoro Fushikawa. And then in the anime Ungo, she was cast as the English voice of Kazamori Sasa. Then in the anime Horizon in the Middle of Nowhere, she was cast as the English voice of Kazuno. Then in Children Who Chase Lost Voices, she was cast as the English voice of Asuna Watase. In The Legend of Heroes, Trails in the Sky, the animation, She was cast as the English voice of Tita Russell. In Penguin Drum, she was cast as the English voice of Mario Natsumi. In the Marduk Scramble, the second combustion movie, she reprised her role as Rune Below. In Bodacious Space Pirates, she was cast as the English voice of Cory. In Kami-sama Dolls, she was cast as the English voice of Yutao Kuga. In Battle Girls Time Paradox, as we're getting into 2013, starting with Marduk Scramble 2013, followed by Bodacious Space Pirates Comics. In Battle Girls Time Paradox in 2013, she was cast as Ieyasu Tokugawa, as well as Tokunyan. So, and I guess a female adaptation of a historical character. Then in Uno Boku Secret Service, she was cast as the English voice of Ririchiyo Shuriken. Then in Hiro no Kakara, the Tamayori Princess Saga, she was cast as the English voice of Arya Rosenberg. Then in Hakuoki, A Memory of Snowflowers, she would reprise her role as the English voice of Princess Sen. In Kids on the Slope, she would be cast as the English voice of Sachiko Kawabuchi. In Kill Me Baby, she was cast as the English voice of Yasuna Oribe. In the anime Special A, she was cast as the English voice of Sakura Yoshikubo. In the Garden Words movie, she was cast as the English voice of Aizawa. In Shining Heart, she was cast as the English voice of Melty. And then in Medaka Box, a high school anime about another student council type anime about basically student council and other organizations within the school having superpowers and all that good stuff. She was cast as the English voice of Hansode Shiranui. Then in Campion, she was cast as the English voice of Yori Maria. In Girls und Panzer, she was cast as the English voice of Katyusha. She would then reprise her role as Hansode Shiranui in the English dub of Medaka Box Abnormal. And then that was in 2014 she did that. As well as 2014, she would reprise her role as Rune Below in Marduk Scramble, the third Exhaust movie. She would, in the Samurai Girl short, she would reprise her role as English voice of Yukimura Sanada. In Samurai Bride, she would once again reprise her role as Yukimura Sanada. In the English dub of Problem Children Are Coming from Another World, Aren't They? She was cast as the English voice of Pest. In the Sentai dub of Rosen Maiden Zuruk's Pulen, she was cast as the English voice of Hina Ichigo, one of the dolls in the series. In Log Horizon, she was cast as the English voice of Sarara. In Infinite Stratus 2, she would reprise her role as Lin Yang Fang. In The Ambition of Oda Nobuna, she was cast as the English voice of Hachisuka Gaimon. In Leviathan, The Last Defense, she was cast as the English voice of Bahamut. In the anime in 2015, where we're moving on 2015 here, we've already moved, Leviathan was from 2015, and we move more into 2015 here in The World God Only Knows Goddesses. She would reprise her roles as Shiori, Shiomiya, and Mio Yama, as well as being cast as the English voice of Minerva. In Sony Ani Super Sonico, the animation, she was cast as the English voice of Ina Fujimi. In Parasite the Maxine, seen on Adult Swim a couple years ago, she was cast as the English voice of Akiho Suzuki. In Black Bullet, she was cast as the English voice of Keiyo Senju. In Log Horizon 2, in 2016, in Log Horizon 2, she was cast as she would reprise her role as the English voice of Sarara. She would reprise her role as Corey in 2016 in the Bodacious Space Pirates Abyss of Hyperspace anime movie. In the anime Cross Ang Rondo of Angel and Dragon, she was cast as the English voice of May. Also in 2016, in the anime Chaika, the Coffin Princess Avenging Battle, she was cast as the English voice of Frederica. She would then reprise her role as Katyusha in the Girls und Panzer der Film anime movie. In Little Busters EX, she would be cast as the English voice of Shaya Tokido. Then, as we move ahead to 2017, she was cast in Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, an English anime of that. Sounds like an interesting time. I haven't seen that one yet. I might take a look at that one. As the English voice of Liruka Arde. And then in Utawareru Mono, The False Faces, she was cast as the English voice of Anju. In Chivalry of a Failed Knight, she was cast as the English voice of Nene Saikyo and Onitama. In Monster Musume, she was cast as the English voice of Lilith. In Food Wars: The Second Plate, 2018, she was cast as the English voice of Lucy Hugo. Some of you may have seen that on Toonami recently before they finished that second season run. She would then reprise her role as Little Ruka Arde in the OVA. Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? 2018. So we're moving ahead to 2018 here. Also in 2018, she was casting as her voice of Cavity A in Hello Kitty and Friends Let's Learn Together. She was also cast in Knights of the Zodiac Saint Seiya in 2019, the English voice of Shunrei. In Domestic Girlfriend, she was cast as the English voice of Momo Kashiwaba. And then she would once again reprise her role as Liruka Arde in the movie Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? Arrow of the Orion. And then, last but not least, I think there's at least one more role she has that wasn't listed on this one source. I had to go to another. Actually, a couple other things that she has done that. Well, she was cast the English voice of Komachi Hikigaya in My Youth Romantic Comedy Is Wrong as I Expected. And then in the English dub of How Clumsy You Are, Miss Ueno, she was cast as the English voice of Ueno. I'm guessing that's the lead actor. And then in the second season of the English dub of Banji Dream, she was cast as the English voices of Shiyu and Tamade in 2020 here. So that's that. That's all the credits of Hilary Haag. I hope you guys will take the time, to watch some of her work if you haven't seen any of her work already. You've seen some of her work. Good way to also find some other stuff that you didn't know she was in that you might want to check out as well. And with that, guys, as always, you can check the links or check the links below. If you want to contact me directly, you can contact me on my Discord. You can direct message me there. Check out the Discord and join if you'd like. I'm still promoting a bunch of different dub companies, including Sentai. You know, good time to try to get caught up on a lot of great animes out there. Um, Also, if you guys want to, as you guys know, I'm also still promoting the GoFundMe's. As always, guys, never feel like you have to donate. It's on your heart to do so, and you have the means to do so. Please consider donating. If you've already donated, please consider donating again. And if you cannot donate, you can still help out the cause by sharing the link. Sharing is caring, and you never know, maybe some of your circle friends may want to help out as well. And if you like this content, please consider liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. We look forward to the conversation with you guys. Always look forward to the conversation with you guys. As long as it's civil and respectful. And I hope to catch you guys at the premiere on Friday night. And if not, I'll see you on Monday. Bye.